Well, Rob, thank you so much for joining us here on Raising the Grade.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. It's kind of one of those leap of faiths that you take when
Mm-hmm.
somebody invites you to a podcast. And
After knowing them for how long?
I maybe 15 minutes because
Yeah.
you and Jackson have been doing all the conversations up
Mm-hmm.
to this point. So we met today and you came down to our warehouse where we got a chance to meet your team, which we're very excited about. And certainly I want to ask you a little bit about your organization and what
Definitely.
your goals are here in the Valley, and then ultimately how we can help you. And
Mm-hmm.
and happy to chat with you about anything about turf related or just business in general and how to help small businesses expand.
I love it. It was so neat to meet you today and just go from kind of like, don't know this guy to, okay, this guy's okay to, hey, I think I like this guy. I'm going to have him on the podcast.
Awesome.
It was just one of those things where what we're doing at our company is looking for multiple partnerships and maybe not having all our eggs in one basket. And I think you guys really fit the mold perfectly for like, well, let's try something new.
Mhm.
So we have been kind of with turf supplier A so far, and we like them, and it's a good relationship, and I think it's okay to have multiple partnerships, but you guys really fit a unique niche. Can you tell me, uh let's start with you first. We'll,
Sure,
we'll kind of
sure.
get who's Rob first, and let's kind of go down that path of how'd you get to Arizona, where were you? Give me a little of your
Sure, sure.
elevator speech.
So being an open book, being pretty, honest about everything that's happened in my life up to this point, I feel blessed and fortunate, and feel like somebody's watched out for me this entire time in my life. It's positioned me in the right place at the right time,
Hmm.
and I'll tell you the Lord's provided well, and we're grateful for it. So, um, living in Detroit in the '80s, going to school in the '80s.
That'll make you a believer.
Yeah, and yeah, and so did lose a brother,
Hmm.
the oldest in the family,
Ouch.
and parents didn't want to lose another child, so they
Hmm.
sent me out here to boarding school.
Really?
So late '80s,
Wow.
finished up in boarding school, and I'll tell you, boarding school wasn't a great experience, but it
Hmm.
was an experience that allowed me to mature very fast.
Hmm.
If you weren't at the canteen first thing in the morning to eat, there was no food,
Hmm.
so you had to get up early, you had to eat, and you had to get to class.
Wow.
So I had the benefit of having a paper route in Detroit early on. When I came out to boarding school, I was one of the few ranch hands that actually was a
Wow.
student that got to work.
How old were
So
you, if you don't mind? Kind of for the
17. Yeah,
okay.
17. So maybe mature, responsible. I
Hmm.
got up before the rest of the kids. I fed all the cattle and the horses at the school, took
Wow.
care of a lot of stuff before classes started, made sure I got my meal in,
Hmm.
went to class. And then right afterwards, if any kids were served attention because they were acting up, they reported to me and I'd have them clean out the stalls. And so I was the ranch hand, I guess is the
Hmm.
best way to describe it.
Yeah, and you kind of floated to the top there. It sounds like right out of the
Pretty quickly.
gate, you were,
Yeah.
and that's really what I think we'll keep hearing from you. So you end up here, you get out of boarding school, then what happens?
At college, really wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I knew it was not going to be in Arizona. So I got the heck out
Okay.
of Arizona.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
college, Washington State, Eastern Washington University undergrad, grad school at Washington State University.
Hmm.
I thought I was going
Go
to save the
Cougs.
world.
Yeah.
Go Cougs. Thought I was going to save the world and be a cop. And through that journey of being security and scrapping a little bit,
Hmm.
I lost a kidney,
Hmm.
and the list was long for me to ever become a law enforcement officer.
Yikes.
Couldn't even get into the military with one missing
Hmm.
kidney. So
Hmm.
I shifted into a private sector job with Home Depot,
Hmm.
catching shoplifters right at,
Hmm.
while I was going to college. And
Hmm.
I will tell you that was something that I learned very quickly, was how to identify good behavior and bad behavior of average people.
Hmm.
And if somebody was behaving bad, I would call them on it,
Hmm.
and recover the merchandise that they were trying to remove that they weren't paying for.
Yeah.
Always showed them grace and dignity, lots of
Hmm.
love, but
Hmm.
the goal was to recover the merchandise, not
Fair.
to victimize the victim or the culprit.
Hmm.
And so had a great run with that. Promoted several times in that organization. And then I learned a lot about logistics and supply chain and shrink and human resources
Yeah.
and people operations, because Home Depot was a massive trainer
They're
of talent.
huge. They're huge.
Oh, yeah. So it was great. And
And they
then my career kind of progressed from there. Very successful career at Home Depot. led to some phone calls from recruiters, which put me into a university setting where at a very young age, I became president of a university, a tech school up in Seattle,
Wow.
medical school in Boise.
What does a president of a university do?
That's a great question. Hey, at the time, I didn't know. I had to figure it out because I had no experience.
Okay.
In fact, I don't know what they were thinking when they hired me. But there's so many governing boards of accreditation and government agencies involved and state boards. And so part of it is political and bureaucratic, and part of it is just a business and driving revenue. And how you drive revenue in a university is helping students succeed, keep them in school, help them graduate, help them land jobs when they graduate. And then eventually, they refer people back to the school.
Sure.
So that was the business model for a while. Successful with that. And then, like all things, suits and ties. You probably have had careers like this too. Suits and ties.
Not this guy.
Not you.
Not
okay.
so much.
It's not great. And an opportunity had opened up here in Arizona. I moved back with one of the universities, and I got a call from a recruiter that put me into a job opportunity with a window manufacturing company called Western Window Systems.
Okay.
And I saw my exit path: get out of the university, get out of the suit, put on a pair of tennis shoes and a short sleeve shirt.
How fun.
Show the ink. And so window manufacturing for 4.5 years.
Okay.
And I learned
aluminum or wood or vinyl.
Yeah, these ones right here, aluminum, commercial and residential. The indoor outdoor living concept, where if you had the money, you could open up the whole backside of your house to the backyard, multi-sliders.
I love it.
Yeah.
Those are fantastic. They are expensive.
They are expensive. Yeah. Yeah. So worked for Western Window Systems, watched how that business grew, helped that business grow. And
what
then
side of that business were you on?
People operations, safety, compliance. So anything that was risk.
I hear that you're dealing with all the things that I kind of like hate, like red tape and like, being
OSHA visits, EPA visits, reports.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, but in there,
it matters, but it's still
happy employees, unhappy employees. It's all part of it. But I got this taste of private equity at that time, and that was watching a business grow to a point where we were attractive to another buyer.
How fun.
And so that buyer came in and bought the organization, and I got to stay on for the next stay. So 3 years and a day later, we sold that business again. And because I had an equity stake in the business at that time, that was financially beneficial to the family, and all the sacrifice and hours was finally realized for us. But the itch was now there. So quick move over to Ace Asphalt, great company. Helped that business as much as I could go from a growing business to a struggling business to a scaling business. And that attracted a local company that was our biggest competitor that purchased us as well.
Wow.
So I was able to exit gracefully from that organization after the sale. And having been a groundskeeper when I was in high school and in college, and bucking bales of hay and being involved in outdoor space, the itch was there for me to get back into the outdoor space. And so being here in Arizona, the turf business, Eric, was fantastic. I thought it was time for me to move that direction. And the short of it, I study things and I write down everything I learn. Sometimes I write so much, it's enough that you can actually put it into a cover and sell it as a book, or just use it as a book. So I studied the artificial grass space for about a year, put enough information together that I had enough chapters written that I was able to just edit it over a long weekend and compile a nice book on artificial grass.
Awesome.
So that's out there now. It's called Turf AI.
I need that.
Yeah, pretty neat. But
is it available for purchase, or how does somebody get this?
Free download on my LinkedIn account. You'll actually swing on over to Rob Robichaud on LinkedIn. It's pretty easy. If you know the LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/in/people operations. That's me. And then if you go down to Verde Valley Turf, the company that I work for is the president and founder. The book is right there for free download. You can read it online, or you can download a copy for yourself.
Fun. I will be checking that out.
Awesome. But I guess that's enough about me, brother. I feel like I've talked 3 minutes too long into this.
No, this is the game plan.
I would love to hear about you, and I saw this beautifully wrapped truck roll up into the parking lot today. Great job on that, whoever did that for you.
Thank you.
Rising Tide, fantastic. You can't miss you. But tell me about your business, man.
We're out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we are cranking hard. Really been at it for a whole 3 months.
Oh,
So,
that's
uh,
fantastic.
not getting too bizarre. I don't know. By the time this airs, it'll probably be 4 or 5 months. Um, but really, I've just loved construction kind of my whole life. Always been involved in it in some way. I sold to contractors for a while. Um, so I'm very used to the kind of like the vendor contractor relationship, from
Sure.
seeing a third party and making those connections to having, this has just been very natural for me. So I love it. This is a fun way. This podcast is really, frankly, a way to talk about, people in the industry that are doing something a little bit different, or they've got some insight on product or install, or maybe they're raising the grade in the valley in our community. So
Sure.
it's an opportunity to highlight those people. One of our mottos at Rising Tides is that a rising tide lifts all boats, and in
Mhm.
our take on that JFK phrase, it refers to the culture,
Yeah.
right? So we want to be an employee centered company. We want to pour back into our employees. It's going to take time, energy, money, and it's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
But that's the big picture. When people sign on with Rising Tide, they're going to have people that show up at their door to do the work that are happy, love what they're doing. And if not, well, there's plenty of places you can go work
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
This isn't one of them.
Yeah.
So we're just going to try to, flush that out and see if it works. And so far, so good. People have been pretty responsive with being willing to support that idea as opposed to just another guy doing landscaping.
Right. Well, so I met three of your employees today, or staff, and
Hmm.
it's hard to call them employees because
Hmm.
it almost felt like they were all family. I met three
Yeah,
of the team
almost.
members that were
Yeah.
there, and great energy. They seemed very engaged. They were cool cats for sure.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was fun. I brought Mark, our PM, Jaden, our sales guy, and Cohen, our door knocker. Cohen's my son. Jaden's a family friend, and I've worked with Mark for a couple years now. So
Great.
and it
Yeah.
all just came together, just really fantastic. But and the reason we were there was to check out your facility. Really get to meet your partner and kind of see what you guys are all about. Tell me how you stumbled into what you're doing now and
Sure.
how long you've been at it, because I think people would be surprised.
Yeah, yeah. So I had left a large landscape company to pursue this opportunity. So after the sale of Ace Asphalt, I did some fun things with people like Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm sure you may or may not have
Gary
heard of him.
V.
Gary V, and just hearing about do things that you love, do things that you enjoy,
Yep.
and being part of the outdoors. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a ranger. I'm not going to be up in the mountains, but
Mm-hmm.
if I can work outdoors or be part of the outdoors, I was going to do it. So I worked for a landscape company, and during that time, I really studied this artificial turf
Mm-hmm.
business on my side hours and my evenings and my weekends.
Mm-hmm. Were you
And
installing a lot of it as a company at that time?
so much. So the
Mm-hmm.
the build to rent communities where 400 or 500 homes are going in.
Mm-hmm.
The company that I worked for did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the backyard turf, all the
Got it.
hardscapes, the pipe and whatnot. But it's the
Mm-hmm.
artificial turf was very interesting to me, and
Mm-hmm.
they're so competitive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met some of the managers and owners of the other artificial turf businesses here in the valley, all great people.
Mm-hmm.
You probably buy from some of them. I've bought from some of them. I saw an opportunity, at least for me, to I think that there's enough room if I were to come into this market, instead of carrying 40 different SKUs or 50
Mm-hmm.
different SKUs, I could offer a very simple Costco model. Good,
Mm-hmm.
better, best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to make huge margin on those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty good at the buying side. I learned that
Mhm.
at Home Depot, how to buy and
Mhm.
work with vendors and suppliers. And I felt like I could bring a product to the Arizona market that would last in this heat
Mhm.
and would be designed to what we would want. And we would build an Arizona-based company with Arizona branded turfs.
Mhm.
We don't have turfs that are named after California beaches.
Mhm.
Our turfs are named after local cities.
Mhm.
And so if you want a Prescott 88 or a Prescott 79, you know what you're going to get. And you saw it today, very similar color
Yeah.
pattern, but
Mhm.
it's also very different than the Sedona or the
Mhm.
Flagstaff or
Mhm.
even the Tucson.
I'm really happy with what I saw just in terms of the color profile, the length, the blade type, the backing. Everything kind of checks out. So, how did you decide on a manufacturer? Like,
Sure.
how much can you share without getting proprietary? But like, I
Yeah,
mean, at some level,
absolutely.
your guys' stuff just isn't quite the same as everybody else's, right?
Yeah, well, so the reason where it's a little bit different, and this is where I can, thank Jackson.
Mhm.
Jackson joined our team pretty quickly after I started up
Mhm.
the operations with the support of the investors.
Mhm.
We brought Jackson on, and we sat down and we went and got samples from everyone in town that was
Mhm.
selling
Yeah,
turf. And we took a look at
I've
how
done
the
that.
stitching was, what was the
Mhm.
backing like. We brought in stuff from Georgia, we brought in stuff from overseas,
Mhm.
and we took a look at a product mix that we thought would be right for Arizona. So we started sourcing who makes the best turf and where's everybody else getting their turf from.
Yeah.
So once we figured that piece out, we met with those turf suppliers and manufacturers, and we went and met with them in person, some
Mhm.
locally, some overseas. And then we specced out a very good product line of good, better, best.
Mhm.
Essentially, this is what we want. We want 6 SKUs. We're going to do a good, better, best model, but it needs to meet these specifications for weight, for
Mhm.
stitch, for
Mhm.
durability, for the heat, the blade
Mhm.
shapes that we wanted. And I know anyone who's listening to this may not think that there's much to artificial turf.
Yeah.
There's so much that
It's
goes into it.
mind-numbing. It's
There's
mind-numbing.
so much, yeah. And
Thatch, no thatch, this green, that green, the other green.
absolutely, and so once we figured out, okay, this is the weight that we wanted to be in. This is our price point that we thought
Yeah.
we had to be competitive at.
Really fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
we made deals with other manufacturers, and like you don't want to go with just one single source. You need multiple sources. So we're
Mhm.
sourcing turf from more than one location,
Mhm.
one manufacturer, and we're always talking to other
Mhm.
manufacturers who want to
Mhm.
earn our business. But that's it.
It's part of
That's
business.
yeah, that's it.
Makes
That's how we
sense.
came to it,
It's
and
sensible. How did you and Jackson meet?
yeah, so a recruiter.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part about it is,
Wow. I've
I
heard recruiter in your name a couple times. Is it the same recruiter that just keeps, like, plucking you up and putting you somewhere else?
yeah,
No,
he
really?
well, so I've owned, a recruiting agency,
Ah, the
at one
rest of the
point in my
story.
life, and
Okay.
and, uh, and,
What a
so
great
knowing
way
the
okay.
space, knowing the recruiters, that brought me into, I guess, that space, and, a gentleman, I'll call him out, Nick reached out and said, "Hey, I got this candidate. Would you be
Mhm.
interested in chatting with them?"
Mhm. So you
Um
get the cream of the crop essentially, because
Yeah,
Jackson's pretty
slam dunk.
fantastic.
Jackson is
Yeah.
as good as
Yeah.
gold. He is
Mhm.
smarter in the space than I am.
Mhm.
I lean on him and ask him questions all throughout the week, like, how would you build this job?
Mhm.
How would you put this in the backyard? And
Mhm.
he's so good at consulting with our customers to be able to show them, I can save you money by laying out the turf this way versus this way.
Mhm.
I know you want to lay it out this way, but that's 3 extra seams. We're
Mhm.
going to lay it this way and you only have one seam,
Mhm.
and it's going to save you 200 square feet of turf.
Mhm.
And the customers love that.
Yep.
He's so good at that. So I'm blessed that I've got somebody on the team much smarter than me, and knows this space so well. So he came from a competitor,
Mhm.
and he knows the model well. He PM jobs, he sold jobs, he sourced turf, so he
Mhm.
knows it quite
Yeah,
well.
and he was with him a while, and it
Yeah,
showed, and it was just so neat to be just so at ease so quickly with a
yeah.
pair of guys, and part of it is you know what you're doing, but it's like you're in the thick of it every day. You're not 12 steps removed, so every question we asked, you guys were ready, and that
Oh
was
yeah.
really refreshing too, because so many times it's like the person you're talking to does not know anything about turf. They're 6 steps removed. What was that again? You wanted nails? What are those for? And it's like, okay, hold on,
Right, right.
who am I
Yeah,
talking to here? So that you really were able to bring a lot of comfort really quickly.
good.
So I'm really excited to get our first couple of orders in with you guys and kind of run stuff up the flagpole.
Yeah, well, we're excited to support you, and looking forward to the first couple jobs we can help, and love to post that stuff online on our website for you and on our socials, because
Hmm.
we'd love to see you grow your business. We
Thank
believe
you.
that the way that we sell turf and the way that we help you set your job up correctly, you just
Hmm.
will make more money with us.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what we believe, and
Hmm.
and if you're not, then we're doing something wrong, and
Hmm.
and you need to call us out on it, because that's our whole mantra: is we're helping landscapers, professional landscapers in this community, make more money by buying turf through us.
Hmm. No, I love that. I see
Yeah.
that completely. Um, where Where are you trying to take things? Like, do you think you'll have multiple locations in the valley? You don't need to answer anything, but like, don't give away your
Oh,
secrets. But are you planning to have some different facilities around the valley, or tell me more about maybe the 6 month, 1 year, 5 year sort of
sure, sure.
roadmap?
We built this model with a very simplistic leadership structure so
Mm-hmm.
that we could scale it.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw that today. You saw
Yeah,
Jackson. I
clean.
cut, I deliver,
Mm-hmm.
I source, I unload. I mean, whatever it needs to be done. So that's what we do. But we've done it in a way that we know that now we have a turnkey operation. We have the right software built for our organization.
Mm-hmm.
We could open up tomorrow in another city,
Mm-hmm.
have grass sourced there within 30 days and be
Mm-hmm.
selling in short of 45
Ooh, I
days.
like it.
So to get there though, it's really about when is it time to go to the new market or
Mm-hmm.
expand in this market,
Mm-hmm.
and is the demand going to be there for us long term, because we don't want to go to a market and have to close doors in 6 months like
Mm-hmm.
some businesses. I'm not saying the
Mm-hmm.
turf industry, but
Sure.
just businesses in general sometimes
Yeah.
expand too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't hired the right team, as you know. They
Mm-hmm.
haven't brought people up into the organization the right way.
Yeah.
So we will expand at the time that we have the right people on the team that are interested and willing to move to that market to help open that market for us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. And so did I hear you, maybe I heard other markets? Do you think you'll have other locations in the valley first, perhaps?
yeah, so the central
Just out of
hub will be
curiosity.
Phoenix. You
Okay.
saw the warehouse today.
Yep.
It's absolutely massive
It's massive and meticulous.
and
Mm-hmm.
so much room for us to grow there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the hub.
Okay.
But we will have branch offices probably around the three corners. We'll have a north, we'll have an east, and we'll have a west.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I can
but what I
appreciate that.
love about being downtown
Mm-hmm.
and being close is I'm opposite traffic. When I'm heading to Queen Creek at 6
Mm-hmm.
a.m. in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about traffic.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm heading out to Glendale, not worried about traffic.
Yeah.
It's always fun to see everybody coming in from the White Tanks or coming in from,
10
Queen
is so
Creek. And
crazy.
the traffic is so heavy. So we like being in the city center and moving out that way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're out in the Avs. If anybody's interested in knowing, we're at 47th Ave and Van Buren. So really good location for us.
And this is your first year in business, yeah?
It is. Yeah.
So-
First, this business entity first year in.
For sure. No,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see what you guys are doing, and just to hear and see on your page. I did a little stalking, but to see you guys actually literally kind of made a story about going overseas and touching the stuff and getting involved and getting knee deep was really what made me call Jackson. Actually, I was like, so Anthony at Dino Turf,
Yeah.
he and I had talked, and he's been a great resource for me. But he said, do you know Jackson at Verde Valley? And I was like, well, no. Tell me about him. So he did. He kind of spilled the beans a little bit, and was like, you should get together. I was like, you know what? He reached out to me right after I got started, and that was that's always fun,
Yeah,
if I'm
yeah.
being honest, just to kind of the human element of, hey, we're getting noticed, the business is getting noticed,
Sure.
so it was fun to tap him back and say, hey, can we talk now? And so today was just kind of the culmination of that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So Anthony, and for those that don't know, he's one of the first to open up a turf cleaning business in the Arizona market. Great background, knows the carpet cleaning business, spent a good long minute in that space,
Mm-hmm.
and just applied all those years of knowledge to
Mhm.
cleaning turf in the backyard using
Mhm.
very similar equipment, same processes. He is as good as they come. And the way that he cleans is what everybody else tries to model.
He's been fantastic to
He's
deal
great.
with on every level. I love the level of detail that he shows in his videos and everything. I'm excited to refer him business. He's
Oh,
on my
absolutely.
website as a trusted partner under references. So that's been great.
Thank you for doing that. Yeah, we
Mhm.
really like what he's doing for us. And, in full disclosure, we acquired an equity stake in his business not too long ago to help expand the business model. So he's,
Hey, oh, cool.
yeah, so you'll see more and more vans on the road very
love
quickly
it.
with his branding.
Let's go.
He's hired some great team members, and man, they do great work.
Fun.
And like, he's the Instagram account to follow.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
because
that's-
he's the gold standard when it
Yep.
comes to cleaning turf in
Mhm.
Arizona. Yeah.
Well, I love to. Yeah, no, it's I just I like constant content. Like,
Yeah.
he's always got something new up there, or it's not necessarily all the same. I definitely struggle with that. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. I have fun with it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, it's a little bit of a chore, like, okay, what are we going to shoot this week? Okay, we got to go here. It's just a little bit of an interrupt, but I mean, it's the way, frankly. You've got to
Absolutely.
have a presence.
The B2B model is so challenging right
Mm-hmm.
now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you know this, and
Mm-hmm.
being present on social is one major step there because
Mm-hmm.
it's branding collateral and it's proof
Mm-hmm.
that your business model works.
Mm-hmm.
Google reviews, we know that some of them are real, some of them may not be real.
Mm-hmm.
There's agencies that you can pay to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
We'd never be that company, but it's
Same.
always unusual when you see a company go from 0 reviews to 50 reviews in short of a month, and
Mm-hmm.
you go, huh,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good
Hey, we've
job,
gotten 17 in 3 months.
right?
We're getting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yours are
But it takes
real
work.
legitimate
Yeah.
customers that you've
Yeah.
sold to,
Mm-hmm.
and so when you go out and you can follow a TikTok or a social media account on Instagram or Facebook, and you can see real customers commenting like, "We really love working with Anthony," or Yelp
Mm-hmm.
reviews, those
Mm-hmm.
ones are always solid.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that Anthony was the right guy to work with and go into business with. So
Good.
yeah, so
That's-
thank you to him for the introduction. So
Yeah.
otherwise we probably would not have been sitting here today.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or it would have been longer down the road from today.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much I don't know, and that's definitely one of the things I keep in an open hand. So you kind of shared vision. Can we talk turf a little bit?
Yeah,
do we have
Do you
time
mind
to
if I
kind of
take a
yeah,
sip? This is
get
cold
some
brew
cold brew?
coffee. It's
Yep.
not actual beer. So
Yep.
all right, there we go. Just a little quench your
So
thirst.
I was at your facility today, and I guess maybe I don't know if samples are even the best way. I have your samples if that is helpful, or do you want to talk through your turfs a little bit? I kind of want to just give you some exposure and put the ball in your court and say, here's an opportunity to use this platform.
Sure. I think I can not bore the viewers of this video with all the specs, but I can share
Fair.
some knowledge about turf. And
Mm-hmm.
Arizona gets so hot,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and having a blade that can actually absorb some of the heat and deflect some of the sunlight
Mm-hmm.
is the wise move.
Mm-hmm.
So in a market like Boise, Idaho, or Portland, Oregon,
Yeah.
a flat blade turf or a C-shaped, blade, it's a good up in the Northwest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Probably not so good in Arizona.
Mhm.
So knowing that, and knowing that there's a big difference between 155 degrees and 135 degrees, but it's not that much different.
Mm-hmm.
A blade shape that's like a W blade
Mm-hmm.
is broken up enough, and it's a smaller blade that when direct sunlight is hitting that blade, it's not on a full flat surface.
Interesting.
It's only catching a portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
So on a W blade, if the sunlight is coming down throughout it, it's only hitting 1/4 of that blade at that
Mhm.
time.
Wow.
So is it still going to be hot? Yes. Will it be cooler than a flat blade or a C blade? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see our turf for the first time, you'll notice it just looks a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on its use, there are people who have pets that are small Tootsie Roll providers.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who have pets that are full, kibasas,
Yeah,
and
fair
that are
enough.
dropping,
Yeah.
And so having the right turf that has a short enough pile, but it's still pleasing to look at, that has a stiff enough blade,
Mm-hmm.
allows for the homeowner to clean things up a lot easier
Yes, sir.
without a smear,
Mhm.
or as much of a smear. So flat blade turfs, C-shaped turfs, oftentimes are very soft, and they heat up faster, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to clean up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah.
And so, I mean, you have, I think, maybe 6 or 7?
6. Yeah, we have 6. Well, and, we do have putting as well,
Yep.
of course.
Everybody's kind of got to have that.
You got to have that, and it's a beautiful two-tone putt. But, at the very low end of our turf, and I say low end, that does not mean that it's less specs.
Same warranty, right?
The same
Across the
warranty,
board?
16-year warranty for all of our turf
Mhm.
across the board.
Mhm.
That's the Tucson 57. It's our entry point economic. It is one of our top sellers, but that top seller oftentimes is going into, people's Airbnbs,
Mhm.
heavy traffic. It's got a nice stiff blade. It's only 1.25 inches, so it's a nice fit.
I got to be honest, though. I did
Yeah.
the same thing and ran around everywhere and got everybody's samples.
Sure.
And you list your weights, but they actually just feel a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
Or equal to something that would be called a higher weight somewhere else. So there's definitely a feel that I'm trying to describe and probably doing a poor job of, but they feel correct. They feel really good for the price and for the weight. I think it's a great value play, like literally fantastic.
I love that. Thank you so much. And maybe one way to maybe explain why that's different is um, a lot of folks who sell, let's say, an 87,
Mm-hmm.
it could be an inch and 3/4 or 2 inches.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to keep that same weight model like the Prescott 88,
Mm-hmm.
but we're selling an inch and a half at
Mm-hmm.
an 88.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels thicker. It feels more dense.
Mm-hmm.
There's more stuff in there is the best way to
Yeah, I
describe
think
it.
your stitching's a little tighter
It
maybe
is.
than
Yeah,
most that I've seen, right?
it is.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
get that
It
with that
looks
way. So the
better.
rows of the grass as they stack up that makes the turf is called the stitching. Yeah.
And then the thatch is not
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to the top of the blade. It's
Mm-hmm.
not crushed all the way at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom. We
Mm-hmm.
tried to keep the thatch
Visible.
yeah, if it's an inch and a half, we kept the thatch at 3/4 of an inch. So there's enough there to kind of hold that blade up naturally,
Mm-hmm.
which in time we hope that you could use less infill for the types of turf that we
Mm-hmm.
have. When you have a 2 1/4 inch, turf, it requires a lot of infill to
Yeah.
get that blade to stand up.
Yeah, I think front yards only. Like, I'm not telling anybody to put a 2.5 inch in their backyard
No,
unless you're
no.
ready to call Anthony every week and have him come out and broom it or something.
Right, right.
But yeah, no, definitely, I like those in the front yard. And you guys are kind of turning into the one-stop shop. So not just the turf, but you've got different infills. You've got the nails. You've got
Yeah, yeah. So here's the ancient, secret. By the time this comes out in a month, I guess we're going to be okay. So
Mhm. Okay.
we're entering the paving business. I need
Mhm.
about a month to be slowly
Oh, perfect.
ramped up there, but
Okay.
all the agreements are signed. Pavers have been ordered. We'll have
Wow.
Portland cement on site. We'll have pavers on site. Standard that you're familiar with here in Arizona, which you would normally order. So we're super excited about
Mhm.
that. We'll also have, a poly sweep. Not that it's used a lot with that, but it's on site.
Yeah, we definitely
So
have had some people on that we've had real conversations about that. So
yeah,
I would encourage you to push the poly.
yeah,
Really everybody, all the owners that I've talked to, and the Belgard rep that was in, and the Telluride rep, and just really everybody that I'm starting to see that's on the other side of the industry is like, no, polysweep's the best play.
it's great, especially if you're using like a travertine or something like
We
that.
we always do that, but I mean specifically pavers.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do it.
No.
Me and my team are talking about making that the standard for us now. So that'll be a fun one to touch back on in a month or so.
Yeah, it will be. So if you're putting in your house, would you use poly? And your answer is going to be yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if my answer is yes for me, for my house,
Mm-hmm.
and my infill is like a camel fill or an envirofill, if
Mhm.
that's what I'm using for the infill, if my answer is a yes for my house, it's very easy for me to help a customer understand this is why it's in my house.
Nope, 100%.
And it helps.
I like that
it helps you too.
methodology.
Yeah, especially if you have pets or things of that nature, you want a good infill product that's got an antimicrobial component to it to help with odor and help with any kind of bacteria.
Well, and we love EnviroFill, and one of the things I don't know that I've had the chance to talk about yet, but it's color. It's green. So instead of like just a green dyed silica,
Right.
EnviroFill is green, and so it looks great. It really disappears in the turf. So a lot of times you'll use the silica, which is kind of a blonde tan,
Right.
and it's visible. And so a lot of people don't love that, but maybe they weren't given an option for EnviroFill because it's not a pet application. So people don't
Right.
think about that. There was one lady, I've sold hundreds and hundreds of jobs, and there was one lady that said, "Why didn't you tell me about this?" And I thought, well, why didn't I tell you about this? And
Yeah.
the reason was I wasn't thinking that this is a pet job. I need EnviroFill. So, there's, camo, EnviroFill. I'm kind of warming up to camo because it's that middle price point between EnviroFill
Yeah. Yeah.
and silica. Still a good product.
Both good products here in Arizona is a local camofill business is here in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Great product. EnviroFill, made by the Mott's company, does a phenomenal job. Great scientific research behind their product. And
Great
really,
warranty too. I'm not sure if everybody's
Yeah.
got the same warranty, but they've got a
Well,
16-year warranty.
I think they do. And then really it comes down to what's the pet use going to be like.
Mhm.
And if it's moderate or light, you have one product to choose from. If it's really heavy and it's a very active yard with pets,
Mhm.
then you have another product that you can
Mhm.
offer to your customers is
Mhm.
probably going to be a little bit better from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah, no,
And then
I like that.
Economy, though, sometimes we all have budgets and we have an idea. I can only spend this much money. And then we have to notify customers, well, if you do go with the silica sands for this particular job, then getting it cleaned would be a good recommendation. And by the way,
Mm-hmm.
Dino Turf Cleaning is phenomenal at doing
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Every 6 months, they should come out. Sometimes, if it's real busy, they should come out once a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that adds dollars. So if you can,
Yep.
think about that on the front end and, go with Envirofill, which is my pick. I won't be
Absolutely.
shy. That's my favorite by far. So turf, all the stuff, you've even got a weed barrier. I saw
Oh, yeah.
nails in there, putting green, all the stuff you need to install a putting green. Portland. I'm glad you're carrying Portland.
Yep.
If you're going to do pavers, you have to, but, I like that I can add a couple of bags on
Absolutely.
as well. Any thoughts on any products beyond that? I mean, you guys are cranking, frankly, to go from open
Zero.
doors.
Yep.
We're selling turf to, hey, we're also adding pavers now too. So I'm not pushing. Just asking, like, is there any other products like that you think you want to add on, or are you going to keep it kind of McDonald's and go?
So what really comes down to you and
Mhm.
what you're needing for your customers. And if
Mm-hmm.
you came to me and said your last 10 customers all asked for low voltage lighting,
Mm-hmm.
you and I would sit down, we'd figure out what a low voltage lighting plan would look like for you,
Yeah.
what 3 or 4 SKUs you would want,
Mm-hmm.
allow me to go source that for you, come back with some samples, show you what we are able to do
Mhm.
on pricing. And if you say it's a go, if I know you're using it,
Mm-hmm.
the other 10 customers are probably looking to use it or they're getting it from somewhere else.
Sure.
So let's bring that product to market too.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it's really about you and what you're providing your customers and what your customers are asking of you.
Wow.
So that's how we move our market. And think about Costco. They have products that sell all the time: toilet paper and water. Which good luck finding any today after the strike notification last midnight. I think they're already selling out.
Oh, yeah.
But there's products there that they carry seasonal, and then there's products that they try. And if the product works that they try, you'll
Mhm.
see it in more stores. You'll see it more
Mhm.
often. If it's not one that's worked,
Yeah, I hope they
it's
get my cold brew coffee. I think I've seen it in one or
Yeah.
two like videos. I'm not sure if the videos are fake or not, but I want my cold
You
brew
want it.
from Costco.
So as you grow your business, and we're excited to see you grow, tell us what your customers are asking for.
How fun.
And then let's sit down and grab some coffees.
Yeah, I've already got
sodas.
ideas. You've got ideas working. I like it.
Yeah. So we think we can scale in the market, but our scale really comes down to not at our desire. As much as I have an appetite for bigger, more,
Yeah,
more.
sure.
It really comes down to, is it feasible and is it the right time?
Mm-hmm. And you guys are not direct to consumer right now,
No.
so you are doing that wholesale model.
It's a contractor warehouse.
Contractor only,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I think it's a good play. Really, it
We don't
really
wanna compete
streamlines
with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I know some outfits in town that offer install, so it's like, I don't think I'm going to buy from that guy. I've never
You can't
quite
fault 'em.
understood that.
You can't fault them. I
Well,
mean, I get it.
I do get
but
it. I do get
You
it,
get
but I
it,
guess
yeah.
on the personal level, I'm kind of like, well, not for me.
Not for you. I understand both. I understand that too, because one, we opened this as a B2B model.
Mm-hmm.
B2B is the hardest to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to get leads. It's
Mhm.
difficult
Sure.
to find somebody who's
Sure.
willing to buy from us.
Mm-hmm.
A B2C model is the easier path, and I can see why a lot of companies would
Mhm.
automatically just move that way, because
Mhm.
the phone will ring
Sure.
and it'll be someone in the Biltmore area that's looking for turf.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to do in that situation is then reach out to you. You're an
Yeah.
ROC licensed
Mhm.
contractor
I would like that too.
in Arizona. I mean,
Mhm.
so you've got the ROC. I feel very comfortable being able to say, hey,
Mhm.
I've got a lead for you to run with.
Yeah.
And then,
Well,
our
don't
hope
be
is-
shy.
Yeah. And then, go close that lead. And when you do, I'd love to be able to provide the product. I'm not going to hold you to it, but I think
I
that's
absolutely
how
would.
relationships
I have
work.
that agreement with a couple of guys,
Yeah. I'd be
so
happy to help you grow your business.
yep, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
How fun.
yeah.
And now Jackson almost made it out here with us. Can you, without getting, we'll have him on in a few months,
Oh, that'd be
and
great.
pick his brain too. And so you've kind of told me how you guys met through the recruiter and stuff. How long did it take you guys to go from, or this is your business. I'm so sorry. Your business, you started and you brought him in a little bit after, or what
So
does that look
yeah,
like?
so the investors, family owned
Okay,
entity, and
cool.
I don't know that I've got permission to
You're
share the
good.
name, but
Don't care.
the three investors and I met at
Okay.
the end of 2023,
Wow.
talked,
So quick.
um, and then in February I resigned my position as the president and CEO of another landscape
Yep.
company and came on board. That was at the end of February. By the third week of March, I had Jackson hired.
Mm-hmm.
We had specced all of our grass by the middle of April,
Mm-hmm.
and the manufacturing process started the first week of May.
Mm-hmm.
I'd already done all my, travel the world,
Yeah.
travel the country, find all the grass that we can, specced it. Jackson helped us so much on that process.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we were there, orders were placed. We received all orders of turf in the month of June. We opened the last week of June.
Awesome.
And up and to the right, doubling every month in revenue
Mm-hmm.
since. So, and there's no end in sight.
Praise God. I
I
love it.
think thank you. Yeah, absolutely. There's higher power in those that, question whether or not there's things that happen in one's life. We all know that somebody's watching out for us. And in
Mm-hmm.
this venture, I absolutely believe in my savior. And I know that's weird to bring into business, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you this, somebody's watching out and helping us grow this model because we have what I believe is a good product to provide the community. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about, doing that. So there you go.
Couldn't agree
It's
more.
hard to talk about. It's always uncomfortable because you don't know how it's going to be received on the other end.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, you know where I'm coming from, and I think the reason why the investors invested in us is because they
Mm-hmm.
know that we were people of faith.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got ripped out of the fire myself, and then it couldn't be, I would call it God's providence or sovereignty, for just the way things have unfolded so far. So, part
Awesome.
of why I'm so quick to, maybe shoot first and ask questions later in terms of meetings like this,
Yeah.
where it's just kind of like, yeah, this is going to be okay,
Yeah.
and then also, I am a big fan of shaking hands and actually meeting people. It's why we came out there with the crew, to do the sniff test. Frankly, it's like, who
Yeah.
are these guys and what are we talking about here?
This huge, massive warehouse in the
Mhm.
center of town. Nobody would know
Yeah.
we're even there. Yep.
And I've done that really literally with
Yeah.
everybody. The guy I'm buying my bricks from right now went in there, liked the vibe, liked that the
Awesome.
store had a couple other things that I needed. And I said, hey, I'd like to make a proposal to you. I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff from you. Can you give me good prices? Is that okay with you? And, oh, yeah, cool. He's a cool guy,
Cool.
and yeah, no, we've spent a lot of money with him so far.
Awesome.
So it's
Good.
been fun to just be able to do that.
That's something that you've grown up with and you understand that. That's something that's missing a lot today in business.
Mhm.
We want to not communicate and meet face to face.
Mm.
We want to do it over a
For
text
sure.
or over a FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
The world changed, I guess, because of COVID, but leading up to that,
Mm-hmm.
call centers were shutting down because nobody
Mhm.
was picking up their phones anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People weren't responding to emails. And
Yeah.
a lot of these businesses that operated solely on this outbound call center type of
Mhm.
model to grow
Mm-hmm.
were failing,
Mm-hmm.
even like Charles Schwab
Yeah.
and some of the others. So going out and shaking somebody's hand, I think, is the way to grow a business. If
Mhm.
you're going to do a B2B model, you have to be present in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I just couldn't agree more. The networking is so powerful. But also it's been really interesting to see the growth and the connections of people sitting in that chair. This has been a fun, if 10 people watch this, I'm going to be happy. But this has been a really fun way to connect with somebody.
Yeah.
Granted, it's on camera. And
Sure.
yes, there's an ulterior motive. I want people to know about my company.
Of course.
But I also want to give people a platform to show off their company and grow their company. So it's kind of like I get to pick, who sits there, to some degree. Not ego or anything. Just the idea of being able to support. Give my
Yeah.
support to people has been really fun, and then it tends to kind of come back.
Absolutely.
So it's been fun.
I've heard it said this way, very similar to how you're phrasing it. The best way to get a referral is to give a referral.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's essentially the model that is operating right here on
Mhm.
camera. Is
Mhm.
I'm grateful that you asked. But maybe let me ask you a question or
Sure.
two, and because if the audience hasn't seen any of your other podcasts, and this is the first one,
Fair.
you've already shared your value proposition with your employees.
Mm-hmm.
But why your organization? Why would somebody want to reach out and call you versus the other 10 people that are ROC in the
Mm-hmm.
Google ad that they pull up? So why should someone reach out to you?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Of course. It's tough because you don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But I recently shot a video for my website that just kind of, I was forced into kind of like saying that. And it's frankly because I think we can do it a little bit better
Yeah.
at our price point, right? I think there's some really big players in the Valley that do fantastic work.
Hmm.
Um, and while I know we do fantastic work, we're just not that scale yet or that size yet. We could take on any project. But one of our other mottos that I run with in a local BNI chapter that I'm in is we run a tight ship. And you being in logistics and things like
Hmm.
that, I mean, it's actually my brother has a great saying here, and it's applied to something different, but it's not difficult. It's just hard. It's hard to make a schedule ahead of time and keep it, and double check on your subs and double check on your suppliers and double check that everything's going to be there the day before, and communicate with your customer and let them know that we're good. There's no change orders. This is what we're doing. This is what we agreed to. This is why we talked so much before.
Yeah.
And then I would probably steer people to what other people are saying, just about us, that we tend to under promise and over deliver, kind of intentionally. Because I feel like one of the ways to really connect with somebody is to have realized or exceeded expectations. I think if
Mhm.
you fall short in that category, you're going to be in trouble. It's going to go sideways.
Agree.
And I'd be a liar if I said I haven't had a job or two go sideways in my career.
Oh, we all
Right.
have.
And so
Did you learn from them?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Each and every one has kind of taught me, and it's part of what and the unfortunate part is, I'm sorry for those people that happened to, but it's made me better for the next people. I mean, this is life,
Right.
right? I mean, falling down, getting back up, dusting yourself off, and then going into it again, but knowing a little bit more than you did before.
A little bit wiser. And I don't know that we are the same age. I probably have you by a decade, but we are wiser
Mm-hmm.
with each job experience each year that passes. And if I know anything about the contractor world, a lot of times contractors are their own worst enemy. They're not
Mm-hmm.
quick to respond.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of making that phone call to the customer when something's
Mm-hmm.
wrong. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to give the. So Jackson and I are of the same mindset. If it's bad news, it's
Mm-hmm.
first news.
Mm-hmm.
We notify you right away if it's bad news.
I
We
love
don't
that.
waste any time.
You have to.
Yeah, but if it's all things are well and we're good communicators, you trust us, we trust you. You know the phone call is going to come through either way. You've got to build up that reputation. And if we surveyed customers, just like what's your biggest frustration with contractors, whether it's roofing,
Mm-hmm.
the garbage disposal person, the
Mm-hmm.
turf installer, the
Mm-hmm.
landscape professional, it's we never hear from them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not quick to respond.
Seriously.
Well, a lot of times we have to go out into the job and work an 8 to 10 hour day,
Mm-hmm.
and you may not be on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
So being responsive isn't always easy. But
Yeah.
if you set that upfront contract with the customer and you tell them, hey, I'm a player
I like that
coach.
you just said that. Yeah.
I actually work on the job.
Yeah.
I get off most days around 4:30, and I get back to my messages then.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, if you don't hear from me,
Mm-hmm.
know that I will respond
That's
before the end of the day.
that's a really healthy. I like upfront contract. I can't remember where I've heard that before,
Yeah,
but I've read that book. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure, and it's really valuable.
it
And
is.
it really sets a standard for setting expectations.
Yeah, and then the customer's not upset when it's
Mm-hmm.
4:30 and they still haven't heard from you because they know
Mm-hmm.
between 5 and 6 you'll be getting back
Mm-hmm.
with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
been doing a good job about Tuesdays for me. I'm booked solid all day, and it's just kind of like, people
yeah,
know, or if there's something where I think that they might need something, I'm letting them know, Monday or whatever.
sure, sure. Yeah, so that where you heard that from was a gentleman who did a sales training program years ago, and it's very famous now called
Sandler.
Sandler.
Yeah.
Yeah, So the teams that I've managed on the sales side and the people operations side, we went through Sandler training.
Did you actually go through it?
Oh,
Can
absolutely.
you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's fun.
There's something called a sales submarine, but
Yeah.
it's the gentleman that trained our organizations in the past that I would highly recommend. He's back in Detroit as well. His name's Matt Stevens, and
Okay.
so he's really good at setting that upfront contract, and it's
Mhm.
uncomfortable at first, but
Mhm.
let's say I'm reverse the roles.
Mhm.
You're the homeowner.
Okay.
I'm the landscaper,
Okay.
and I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to say, all right, hey, I'm coming out to give you a quote on your turf. You'll get a quote from me today.
Mhm.
And when you get the quote, you have one of two decisions to make. You accept it or you don't. That's all I ask.
Mhm.
Can we schedule the appointment?
Mhm.
You say, yeah. I say,
Yeah,
great.
sure.
I'll see you at 2:00.
Mhm.
So I come out and walk the property. I go out in my truck. I type up a quote and I bring it to you and say, so earlier when we scheduled this meeting, I was
Mhm.
going to give you the quote and you were going to
Mhm.
make a decision, yes or no. Here's your quote.
Mhm.
The customer looks at it and they say, that's too much money. Great. So it's a no.
Mhm.
Some will, some won't. So what?
Yeah.
Move on to the next customer.
Yeah.
And as much as you might be like, oh my gosh, I got to fight. Once that process starts and you've got to start bringing down price and they
Mhm.
start negotiating with you, it becomes very difficult and advantageous. They either will accept because
Mhm.
you're going to give them a fair quote. You're not
Mhm.
gouging anybody. You're
Mhm.
not going to give them, you're going to give them a fair quote for your time, your labor, materials to do this job. This
Yeah.
is what I need to get back from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they don't want it, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. If your mind changes, here's my card. You've got the quote.
I
Shake
love
their
it.
hand. When you walk away, you'll get a call back from them a lot more often than you
Mhm.
would if you started negotiating with them and it went south on you.
Yeah, fair. Very
Yeah.
fair. Seen it happen.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so this happened for us that we started telling people, hey, we're the most expensive in town,
Mhm.
but only by a little bit. Is that a problem?
Mhm.
What? And I never sold on features and benefits.
That's fun. Yeah, I don't like that either.
No.
Sometimes you end up there just kind of like just through talking,
Yeah.
but I agree with you there.
Yeah. Well, why are you the most expensive in town?
Mhm.
Got a really good team.
Mhm.
Really good product.
Mhm.
We actually show up on the day when we say we're going to show up. The job will be finished, within 48 hours of the finish date that we tell you.
Mhm.
And if not, then, we'll talk about how we can negotiate on a
Mhm.
discount on price at that point.
Mhm.
But I commit to you, the job starts on a Tuesday.
Mhm.
It'll finish on a Friday or Saturday.
Mhm.
Does that work?
I like that.
And
Yeah,
you shake their hand.
that's clean.
Yeah. So I'm not on your side of the business,
Mhm.
but if I were back
Yeah,
on your
no.
side of the business, I would have relationships with my customers that way. And they may be like, wow, that guy's really pushy. Well, there's a softer way of saying it. Always be kind, make eye
Yeah.
contact, shake their hand, give them what they asked for.
No, nothing wrong with the
Yeah.
Sandler selling method. I really liked it.
Yeah.
There's a guy here locally, Jeremy Miner. I really like his stuff too because it's
Mhm.
just really clean, and it's really he has these NEPQ questions, which are I forget the words neuro and
Yeah.
empath something curious whatever. But it's essentially it's really psychological. Sales
Sure.
is emotions first, logic later. And it's so if you say, what do you think about this? That's very different than saying, what do you feel about this? Because a lot of people are like, well, I feel like I want a new backyard. Then you figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
It's fun. What a fun sales is
Do
fascinating.
you do most of the sales for your organization?
No, I have. So initially I did, but I've recently just hired a salesman. So Jaden, who you met today.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice kid.
he's
And I say
great,
kid. He's a grown
he's a
grown
great
adult,
man.
but yeah.
I call him kiddo. So
Yeah.
I
No,
get it.
good energy on him.
Yeah,
I'd
no,
buy
for
from him.
sure.
Yeah.
He does great on the sales side. He's super, I would say uber professional. Great with design, great with the clients, great with follow up, great with everything.
Awesome.
And he's young, just closed on a house. I'm so excited for him and his wife. Fantastic
See,
kid.
there's a story there.
He's gonna kill it. He's gonna make a lot of money.
Fantastic. Yeah. And spending some time with him, you don't need to invest in this real expensive sales training with him. Just mentoring them 30 minutes a week, having a conversation like we're
Mhm.
having here, I imagine will help that individual, help him grow even more.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
fun, and like today we rode around together. So
Oh, cool.
we did men's group. We did an appointment. We did BNI. We came and met you guys. Went out to lunch, kind of decompressed, and then he's back designing and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
So it was a really solid Tuesday. But my Tuesdays are always just kind
Always
of,
full
like I said,
because you do
booked
this
out.
too. You got your
Hmm.
men's group in the morning.
Yep,
Okay.
date nights fall on Tuesday.
Oh.
Tuesdays are kind of like just pre-planned, scheduled out. Nothing's going on.
What's a date night look like in Arizona? Is that too personal or?
No, not at
Oh
all.
yeah,
No,
I'd love to. Yeah.
it's nothing crazy. I mean, we're happy hour people, so
All right.
it's always a happy hour, and it's usually around Scottsdale.
Not a trip to Home Depot to go pick out new curtains.
I don't know. We might hit the bank and Staples and Home Depot once in a while during date night, but it's
Yeah.
just kind of an agreed upon. Like, might have an extra stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Well,
might be, grabbing our happy hour food near the bank today.
oh, that's awesome. That's
know.
great. There's so much cool opportunities. Because how long have you been? Is it back in Arizona, or how long have you been in
So
Arizona?
no, we were from Oregon, so 25 years in Oregon, and then only been in Arizona for 3 years. So, summer really of 2021, we moved in July, and it was hot. I think that's exactly the same time Jackson ended up here from
Yeah, he
talking to
did.
him
He
today.
did.
So,
Yeah,
within
his
a
family
month,
transferred out. Yeah.
within a month or so, it was hot. But we've been here for 3 years. I don't think we're going anywhere for a while.
Yeah.
Especially not starting a business, and we love it here. That's really, we talked about that actually at length. Was uh, is this a good spot to start this business?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
my daughter's in Tennessee with my son-in-law, and then I have my son here with his wife and a grandbaby.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like we're good here for quite a while.
You're busy. Yeah, you're busy being a
Mhm.
grandparent. Yeah.
There's so much good food and so many things. I think I'm going to be able to bring my nephew up from Tucson to help out with the business,
Great.
and he's been wanting to come up to the valley just because there's so much to do up here and so many options for food and golf. I've gotten back into golf since moving up here. That's been really fun because in Oregon I did golf, but
Mhm.
really was kind of deep into like just family time.
Yeah.
I ended up, if I had some free time, I kind of had to give up something. So it was the clubs, because you could only really play like 4 months out of the year,
Right. Right.
because it could be so
And
nasty.
you got to go full
So
board when it's out. When the weather's good, we're golfing.
you do. And
Yeah.
so golfing a couple months out of the year, your game suffers. Here, you're
Yeah.
able to kind of pretty much play year round if you can stand the heat.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot cheaper.
It is less expensive in the summertime for sure. About half
Mhm.
the price, or even a
Mhm.
third of the price of what it is. And come February, you're going to pay full price.
I know.
Yeah.
We're so close to that. We're so close to that.
That's fantastic. So, of the services that your organization offers, and maybe this is good for anybody who's watching for the first time as well, you're not just a turf installer. You are the full meal deal when it comes to professional landscaping.
Yeah.
So, what can somebody call you for these days if they have something that's a brand new
Mhm.
build? Pavers, it sounds like.
Yep.
Turf, it sounds like.
Yep.
What else?
Yeah,
What
no.
else?
Basically all the things. We're not doing pools, and
Mhm.
I say yet. I can see in a couple of years kind of staffing up to do pools.
Mhm.
Just because I'm such a process guy, and I love standard operating procedures, and I think just about anything could be solved with them in terms of construction problems. Right now we're on a job where we're doing a fountain into a pool and a block wall in the front to create a little seating area with turf and pavers and in-ground lights for everything. About 30-35 plants, a planter, pergola. That's
Nice.
one job.
Yeah.
The other job's got a cool raised fire pit with a really long. It's really cool, actually. Like, one wall is media wall with a fireplace built into it, and then that
Awesome.
wall just keeps extending kind of past the house, and then it has the barbecue on it, and it's probably going to be. I think she's deciding today. Fingers crossed. I think it's going to be kind of like just a whitewash stone.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff that goes along with that, some 36-inch box trees, some fruitless olive trees. I think we're maybe trying to talk her out of those. They're a nice tree, maybe a little messy. Maybe get her into something a little bit different. We'll see. We'll see
We'll see
what they, I say her, she's been my main point of contact, but what they
what they want.
like.
Yeah.
It's a really neat couple. Matter of fact, my son door knocked their door in a neighborhood where we've really just been on fire.
Awesome.
So it's been a real blessing up there. But she was a big fan of my son, who's got great charisma and is really excellent at basically talking to strangers.
Yeah.
So as soon as they open the door, he's winning them over. So I mean, everybody, I'm telling you, that is in my organization, uh, from kind of the leadership team to the guys in the field, are just top notch. Everybody cares. And, I always say what's in the heart's going to come out.
Mhm.
And you can't hide it. Like, it shows in
Does.
the quality of work, the communication, the frustration when something goes wrong
Right.
or a pipe breaks. It's real. It's serious. They take it sincerely. So I'm blessed beyond measure. My duty is really to just keep the ship on the right course.
Mhm.
Recent book I'm reading is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell, and I'm a little early for that, but I like it conceptually because it's
Yeah.
essentially trust people.
Mhm.
Make partnerships with people you trust,
Mhm.
and then let them do their thing. Check in on them,
Yeah.
but essentially it gets rid of delegating, checking in, delegating, checking in, delegating, checking in.
It's the hardest thing to do as an
Seriously.
owner operator for, like, yourself. You're an ops guy. You measure stuff twice. You cut once,
Mm-hmm.
and then handing that off to a new sales leader,
Mm-hmm.
a new landscape operator.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, and
Mm-hmm.
so
It's painful,
it's
I would
painful,
say.
and then when it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to go, you think of the 50 different ways you would have done it differently. And
Yeah.
but guess what? They're learning too.
Yeah.
And just like we learn from our mistakes
Mm-hmm.
as grown adults now that have gone through it,
Mm-hmm.
providing the opportunity for somebody who's coming up needs to learn from those mistakes themselves. We
Mm-hmm.
can't teach them. We can't tell them.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to fall into the hole the first time themselves and twist their ankle.
To some degree,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
They won't listen
Yeah.
until then. It depends the kind of learner they are.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, we give them guidance, we give them our wisdom, but they don't always listen.
Yeah. Here's a hard hat. Wear this. You'll thank me later.
But what I'm super excited about, and which some of the viewers don't know, is that you have the ROC contracting license for Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
the CR21,
I do.
which is fantastic. And that's something that is absent a lot of times in this market, but
Mm-hmm.
it builds confidence
weird.
with a homeowner
Mm-hmm.
when they know that that's you and that you're that person, that you've
Mm.
studied, you've been measured, you've passed a state exam,
Mm-hmm.
and that you are somebody that's competent, that can get your organization is an organization that can get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
Thank
huge, and celebrate that, because I know that exam's difficult and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
How long did you study before you could go through that whole process?
About 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
all
did,
your years of experience up to
yeah.
that point.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did some aided training too, and that was the silver bullet.
That helped.
Kind of, yeah, because
Yeah.
frankly, there's some random questions on there. Like it's almost like you'd have to be Rain Man to get 100%.
Sure.
There's just some really random questions,
Yeah.
and so it is that, jack of all, type of exam where you've got to know a lot about a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So that went really well.
Well, when I see that on a business card, I
Mhm.
know, okay, all right, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I am shocked, actually, to your point. People advertising on Facebook and Instagram, not a licensed contractor.
Yeah.
I don't know that's so legal. Or, I mean, I just wouldn't advise anybody to do it. As a matter of fact, if you go on our Instagram, you'll see Dora giving a testimonial
Yeah.
about this contractor who they trusted and started their job in February and drug it out until September.
Oh dear.
And then we showed up and went, boop, 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 we're done.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was frustrated that
Mhm.
she was ghosted.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
horrible.
But you were able to come in
Yeah.
and fix the problem.
Yeah.
And that's a
It's
lot.
rough.
Yeah. So
Seen that a lot, actually, frankly.
I don't know that the ROC regulates the people that do the yard work, that come in. They're great people. We love them, that come in and help clean up the communities and the
Oh.
neighborhoods and the backyards. But when it comes to building that outdoor kitchen
Mm-hmm.
or putting in pavers
Yeah.
or laying turf, just the fact that your organization and you have the competence to do it is really good. So
Appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
congratulations on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the only way to do it, in my
Hmm.
opinion. And by golly, I'm excited to get some more certifications too. So, um, talking to different people that have sat in that chair or other chairs like it, I'm really excited. And I think there's a few specific certifications I'm excited to go and tackle. It would be nice to be a Belgard certified contractor. And part of that equation is just time, just
Sure.
flat out time. And I think we'll get there. But no, I'm definitely starting to kind of put together that 5-year plan.
Great.
What certifications I'll see on my business card in a couple years, and so it's just been fun, a little bit stressful
Yeah.
here and there, a lot of long hours, probably the most hours I've worked in my life, and I love work. So
Right. Yeah,
and
I'm wired
so
to work too.
and so that's been a challenge. My wife and daughter have been super supportive. Family, brothers, sister, all been really supportive and willing to talk through stuff with me, or know that I love you, but that's why I didn't answer your call. I was doing X, Y, and Z. So
Yeah.
I'm sure in their support they will watch this. So I will say thank you guys for your support.
Yep. Yeah. I, get a text message sometimes and, I have to say sorry on a forklift for the next 30 minutes or something
Mm-hmm.
of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a family member, if it's a customer, I'd probably pivot a little bit quicker.
Yeah, fair.
But they understand. They understand. But well, very good. So there's an organization you probably already know of, but if not, it's the Arizona Landscaper Contractors Association, also
Mm-hmm.
known as ALCA.
Mm-hmm.
Great certification programs over there, sustainable landscape management, different
Mm.
certification paths. And sometimes, those things are helpful too for certain jobs, whether it's a city
I
job.
like that one, and we're
Yeah.
gonna talk some more after this about
Yeah.
getting that ball rolling. That sounds fun.
Yeah, they're great people over there. They've got a whole new management change over there in the last couple of years, and they're doing some awesome stuff with really current knowledge training for us. Jackson and I went through their sustainable landscape management recently, and
Okay,
just learned a heap of stuff.
I'm so excited to sit down with you guys more.
Yeah.
Um, we're getting to the wrap session
Oh,
here where we
gotcha.
got to wrap it up. I picked a good one. I thought so. I thought you'd be able to talk through this with me.
Okay.
Help me with kind of like a 10, 15, 30-second out the door to anybody watching this about Verde Valley.
Wow.
Elevator pitch, maybe best way to get in contact with you, some
Sure.
short-term goals that people can help you with, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it feels like, at least I'm not on a debate stage right now trying to become vice president of the country. So this was probably an easier question.
Stop.
So Verde Valley Turf, pretty easy on the website to get hold of us,
Mhm.
vvturf.com.
I love
That's our
that.
website.
Good job.
Simple, right?
Mine's so long.
I know, right?
Anyways,
You just
yeah, I just didn't
vvturf.com.
think that one through. Okay.
And you'll see the products that we have out there for you. Great on-site website developer, photographer on site who did a great job putting that website together for us. Shout out to her. She's
Cool.
amazing. And then the grasses that you'll find are all Arizona based grass, meaning Arizona named.
Mm-hmm.
We spec'd it.
Mhm.
We spec'd it to survive the Arizona heat.
Love it.
We back it with a 16-year warranty. So we're very excited about that. And we think we're going to be the one-stop shop once the pavers are on
Yep.
board here in the next 30 days. But
Mhm.
for right now, all your turf supplies, infill, nails, weed block, seam
Mhm.
tape, glue, turf, all present. We'll deliver anywhere in the valley. Depending on where we are, if we're going to Casa Grande, we might ask for an extra $20 on that
Hey, I
delivery.
hope
But
so.
for the most
Goodness.
part, anywhere in the valley, and this is where we probably might make some frenemies with some of our competitors. $49 anywhere in town.
Wow.
So
Okay.
there you
Well,
go.
you heard it, and
Yeah.
that's good for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm only joking.
October only. No,
Yeah,
no,
I know.
no,
I
but
know.
yeah. So we're excited to help out. And,
That's awesome.
And we do have some jobs posted. So
Okay.
if people are looking for an opportunity for coming on board, we're looking for a CDL driver.
Okay.
And then somebody to help us run the floor.
I've got a guy. One of my next guests is perfect for that.
Awesome.
So,
look forward to chatting.
Rob, thank you so much. This was a
Thank
lot of
you so
fun.
much.
I'm anxious to do this again in a little while with Jackson as well.
Awesome. Congratulations on success of your business. I look forward to seeing your business grow, and we'd be happy to help you out as much as we can with
I
turf
I think you
and
would.
more. Yeah.
I trust you guys. It's going to be a fun one. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you for this, brother.
All right,
All
we'll
right.
see you.
Take care.
See
Thank
ya.
you.